Hi everyone, this is help for question number 1 on the Egypt test. And in this question, you are being asked to describe the gifts of the Nile and how those gifts actually helped the Egyptian people. So in order to answer this question well, you would not only want to know what the gifts of the Nile are, but you would want to be able to describe how they actually helped the Egyptian people. So I'm going to give you a little overview of what that might look like. So of course, with any answer, you would want to start with a topic sentence and introduce your topic, which is of course the gifts of the Nile. And you might say something like, the gifts of the Nile helped the Egyptian people survive in a place that is difficult to live in. Okay. And then you might say, well, one of the first gifts, of course, from the Nile River was water. You would want to explain that there was very little water in Egypt, that the people had to actually rely on the Nile River for water, and then you would want to talk about what water is used for. It's not just used for drinking. So think about what are the different uses that that humankind uses for water. The watering of crops, um, the washing that is done, the cooking that is done, and of course the drinking and the building and things like that. So you want to think about how that water was used as, as a civilization is being built. Floods. Of course, we know that floods were a gift to the Egyptian people. And one of the reasons why they were a gift was because the floods were predictable in Egypt. They came seasonally. Unlike Mesopotamia, where floods could be sudden and very destructive, the Egyptians knew when the floods season would be coming, and so they prepared for that. They had dams, irrigation canals, reservoirs where they could store the water, use the water, move the water. And so the floods became a great benefit to them. Another reason why the floods were so important is because they brought the next gift, which is soil. And soil is a huge gift because in order to have a large civilization, you need to be able to farm. So as the Nile River flows through the mountains, it picks up soil like rivers do. It picks up material as it's traveling through the mountains and the foothills and then down into, in this case, the flat desert plain. When the river floods, it's picking and churning all of this material up, and then as the floodwaters recede, the soil is dropped onto the banks of the Nile. And what happens is this beautiful black soil is left behind, and the Egyptians are able to take this and cultivate their farms. This soil is used for farming and it's nutrient rich. And so it enables them to farm in an area where you might not have had the nutrients that you needed in the ground to be able to have large scale farming, and the soil provides that for them. So, food. We know that rivers can be a source of food. There's lots of animals that are actually attracted to food or depend on the river to survive. And so, for that reason, they can be hunted by man. So, think about, of course, the things that you can find in the river. Everybody generally thinks of fish. In Egypt, there were crocodiles and turtles, there were waterfowl, birds, frogs other animals that would be attracted to the water. And then, of course, the water can be used to sustain other livestock like cattle and goats and things like that. So, uh, food is a resource that the Nile River actually provides. And then there's papyrus. So we know that papyrus was a wild plant that grew along the Nile River in Egypt. And it has a reed-like stem, kind of a woody stem. And this stem is very flexible but very strong. And when prepared in the right way, it could be used for many different things. And we had talked about these different things that the papyrus can be used to make in Egypt. Of course, one of the most famous things is the form of paper. And we looked at how paper could be created. We also know that sandals, boats were created, baskets. So there were lots of things that this one resource could be made into that made it a great gift to the Egyptian people. So, of course, you would want to close your paragraph with a concluding sentence, kind of summing up the fact that the gift of the Nile River allows for the Egyptian people to be able to build a great civilization. All right, I hope that helps.